on, y'all? Today's video. If your girlfriend does any of these, you should break up with her. Alright, so number one, if she never takes accountability. This is like the number one problem I see with like a lot of, in general, a lot of just people like have a hard time doing this. So it's not exclusive to women, but yeah, it's just like when someone knows they're wrong and just like can't admit it, it just gets me so heated. Because like for me, like I wasn't always like that, I know it takes like a bit of maturing, so like generally people who are older can fucking do this shit. But if you're dating a younger woman or like a younger person, I think a lot of the time it's very hard to like just accept that you're wrong. It's not really even age discriminant. It's just like if they have an ego, or like they don't want to let you win. It's like, yeah, it's just that they have an ego. So like you just don't want to date someone like that, because they're just gonna gaslight you over and over. Like they're just gonna make it seem like everything's your fault. And then it's just like there's no room for growth in that relationship. Like, I'm gonna try to stop saying like. It's my like number one bad habit in speaking. But anyway, yeah, you're just never gonna grow with that person, because they're never gonna see the wrongs that they do. And every time that you have an argument, you're just gonna get so pissed off, and you're gonna start questioning yourself, like, bro, am I wrong or some shit? And then you're just gonna get heated over and over, and it's not gonna go somewhere good. There's potential like for that. There's potential for someone to eventually take accountability for their actions. So I wouldn't say, just break up right away, but like if they've shown that they're not committed to like taking accountability for their actions, it's not worth your time to just keep arguing, because they're never gonna see they're never gonna admit they're wrong. They're never gonna see their faults, and you're just always gonna be the bad guy. Number two, if they're just dismissive of your feelings. If you're dating someone and whenever you express to them, that you don't like what they're doing, and they're just like easily dismissive of you, it can just be very hurtful. Now, speaking from experience, you do have to express your emotions in a reasonable manner, because obviously if you yell at them and you're like, I'm fucking angry, I'm fucking angry that you're doing this shit. Like, for example, if your girl goes out with her friends and she doesn't text you, like, yeah, you're gonna be like a little fucking mad, right? But you gotta express that in a way that you're just not gonna like anger her even more. Like you gotta be smart about how you communicate, basically. You don't want to just like be reactionary and be like, man, fuck this bitch, You actually gotta be like, damn, okay, well, hey babe, I don't like when you do this, and it kind of like makes me frustrated and it makes me feel some type of way. You gotta dig deep and just be honest, because anger and communication don't really mix well together. And like, even if you're valid in your anger, if you really want it to work, and if you think that she can change, and if you think that she'll like listen to you, then it's worth it to just tweak what you're gonna say in a manner that's like understandable and like reasonable. But that's when like this problem comes in, where it's like she's dismissive anyway, like even if you express yourself reasonably, and she's like, well, actually, fuck you, because you shouldn't feel some type of way. That shouldn't make you feel some type of way. And it's a very like immature response, because no, most feelings are warranted, but I get like there are other like solutions and other ways to deal with it, but like every feeling that I have, it's like gonna be warranted. And I'm like willing to hear you out and hear what you're gonna do about it, but just because like I'm feeling some type of way doesn't mean like you're wrong. I'm just saying how I feel, you know? And if she can't really see that, if she's not gonna hear you out, she's not worth your time, bro. Like, a good woman is gonna like listen to you, and she's gonna be like, she's not, listen, it's easier to just use an example. So I'll just use the example like I said before. Hey, I don't like when you don't text me back when you're out with your friends. And if she's just like, well, fuck you, I'm busy, you know, like, I'm so, like, you know, well, I'm just too busy, you know, like, just get over it, you know. When you really, if she's a mature woman, she's gonna be like, oh, you know, I get why you're mad. I should probably like do a little better on texting, and you know, that's it. And it doesn't have to be like this whole fucking fight every single time, you know. And you gotta take some accountability too yourself. You gotta like not just be mad for the sake of being mad. You gotta be mad. Like, if you're mad, you gotta like your goal should be resolution. Your goal shouldn't be like shaming or like making them feel like shit, you know. Number 3, if you're just always the one begging for her attention. So this is something you want to kind of deal with early on, because I've dated a girl and she would never be the one to text me first. I would constantly ask like her like about her day. I would constantly be the one to make plans. And then, you know, her excuse was just like, oh, you know, I'm just busy. And like, you know, I can admit maybe she didn't just like me as much, but that's the thing. You gotta realize that early on. Like, if she doesn't like you, just cut that shit off. Like, you're more valuable. That, like, you shouldn't just be like someone that she's entertaining. You know, she should, if she's like devoted to you, you should be devoted. Like, I'm not running this right. What I'm saying is, like, if you're really seeing someone, I'm not gonna date someone that's like entertaining multiple people. I want to be a priority. So like, that's cool if she like wants to date other people. Like, if she's like, if she has options. I'm talking about in the beginning, obviously, like not when she's like fucking in a relationship with you. But if you're just like talking to someone and you're like always putting in effort, man, just take the hint, bro. Like, I think it's worth it to like do it for maybe a couple weeks, you know, like really put in the effort, show her that you're devoted to like to her, you're chasing her, you know. That's part of the fun, and that's part of like the role you gotta play as a man sometimes, is like you gotta chase the girl. But like, once it gets a little more serious and you can like sense that she's really not into you, because a girl that's really into you, she's gonna like text you back, she's gonna want that attention. Even if like she's a little introverted, like she's still gonna try, you know. Like, you could just sense. Like, if you don't have that sense, I'm sorry, but you could just sense when she's not into you. And if you do start dating and she's still like that, like, you gotta express that. And there's gonna be a point where you're just gonna be tired, bro. You're gonna get tired of always being the one being like, hey, how are you doing? What are you up to? It's just gonna be so draining to like feel like it's one-sided, and it's gonna make you feel like shit over time, because it's like, damn, this person that I really like and really am devoted to is not really reciprocating any of that. And a lot of girls will have this excuse where like, oh, I'm just not used to that. Like, I'm just used to like the guy like just chatting me up. And it's like, bro, like that kind of woman is just like immature. Because like, if you're already dating, bro, like you shouldn't have that. You shouldn't be playing these kinds of games where it's like, oh, I don't want to come across as like needy if I text him. It's like, what does it matter? Like, just text me when you want to. I don't like playing these games where I have to be like, oh, she doesn't want to feel needy. Like, man, fuck all that. Anyway, that's all I got for today. Yeah, man, like, just value yourself and have higher standards, and you'll be happy.